who struggle to keep up with all the latest memes and internet trends?
Before 2020, Munya Chihuahua was a relatively unknown comedian.
Introducing...
But that changed quickly as people were forced to stay home and inevitably spend more time online. Chihuahua's news parodies and satirical characters on TikTok and Instagram made him a viral sensation, and some would even say an influencer.
The word influence is quite interesting because there's a slight stigma attached to it. Some people sort of associate that word with a certain level of being vacuous or superficial. But if anyone refers to me with that term, I'm sort of thinking about the 10 years before I built a profile where I had to learn to edit, to write, direct, to act. And so in that sense, it's quite reductionist.
The creator economy is expected to be worth $528 billion by 2030. And at the root of the economic boom is their relationship with the advertisers.
The creator economy is booming, so everyone's releasing stuff all of the time. We're now sort of recognizing them as sort of key pawns on the chessboard of marketing.
So how did we get from this to this? Do you remember this Coca-Cola commercial?
I don't want you to be no slave.
In 1994, it was considered groundbreaking, using an ad to flip gender roles on their head. Ads had already been around for a long time, but initially were informative and dry.
It's a charcoal grill.
Then they started to become more entertaining. And by the 1980s and 90s, they hit their stride, using jingles, catchphrases, and story arcs that permeated pop culture.
People ask me how I keep my teeth from chattering in the wintertime. I leave them in my locker.
Until recently, ads exclusively appeared across traditional media channels, radio, TV, print and billboards, which meant if you wanted to get your product in front of a lot of eyeballs, you had to go through mass media companies to do so.
The idea somehow that information comes from top down is done.
Richard Edelman is the CEO of the world's largest publication relations agency, Edelman.
They're no longer just watching mainstream media. They're on their phones, they're somehow interacting with brands through the prism of influencers. And it gives them a way to talk back. They're not just talked at. A consumer is now really considering what his or her friends are doing, what impact it means to carry a brand around, fashion, food and beverage.
Joe Gagliese is CEO of influencer talent agency Viral Nation.
There's been a very large media establishment that's worked really well for a long time globally. And I think that creators are the largest disruption to it. So I believe that, yes, in a long-term perspective, large media organizations are going to have to adjust just to go to where the people are, not necessarily just creators themselves.
While it may seem like the creator economy has sprung up overnight, it's actually been a story that's been over 2 decades in the making.
At the turn of the century, internet connections began to speed up, enabling platforms like YouTube and Twitter to pop up. These platforms made sharing content with a mass audience accessible to anyone with the internet, and some of these users found stardom. And it wasn't long before advertisers wanted to tap into their influence. Still, the bar for becoming a creator was high, often requiring expensive camera and editing equipment. That is until TikTok further leveled the playing field, building basic editing capabilities directly into the app. The platform popularized short-form vertical video, most of which was shot on a mobile. Competitors like Instagram and YouTube built out similar products too.
Everybody's a creator on TikTok. Like if you think that everybody can be a creator, we have such simple tools for people to do. I can even be a creator. In the US, the economic impact that TikTok's having is roughly $24 billion into the US economy and 225,000 jobs. We think the economic impact of TikTok especially is significant.
Today, there are an estimated 50 million people working as creators worldwide, according to Goldman Sachs, and the firm expects this number to grow another 10 to 20% in the next 5 years.
So why are brands turning to influencers and content creators? Edelman tells me it's all about trust.
Trust is actually local. Trust is the third most important factor: price, quality, and trust. And so I trust an influencer, someone who I actually feel is close to me because he or she or her values are like mine.
A 2019 Edelman study revealed that consumers' trust in the brands they purchase from had declined, but trust in influencers was up.
So you've got to talk about what you're doing in the community. You've got to have local people in your ads or as spokespeople, as influencers. You got to make sure you're actually doing something in each local market.
And Chihuahua says that trust also extends to the type of influencer brands work with.
Kids can smell a rat. They can detect when someone's lying. And I think that sort of spreads to consumers as well. Consumers know when a brand is just working with someone for their numbers, and they also know when talent is just working with a brand for the money. I really make sure to curate my comedy so that it's not offensive, it's just smart, hopefully. And the second thing is that brands appreciate authenticity. I think I've had a couple of times where brands have sort of tried to steer me away from satire, but then there's this realization that that's what my audience love.
The cost of working with an influencer can vary wildly. A micro-influencer with 5,000 to 50,000 followers could charge as little as $10 per post. On the other end of the spectrum are mega-influencers, with a TikToker with 14 million followers, for instance, reportedly making $10,000 per post.
While brands have largely embraced the idea of working with influencers, the process of identifying and reaching out to these individual creators can be time-consuming and cumbersome for advertisers trying to reach a large audience.
Famously brought to life by the hit AMC series Mad Men. But today, your creative directors, copywriters, account managers and media buyers are often joined by teams focused on social media and influencer marketing, like in Netflix's Emily in Paris.
The industry is not really set up to work with individuals because the large brands and the large agencies are traditionally more comfortable with arranging deals with bigger entities who have big legal departments. That's not what the creator economy is.
And while that may be convenient for brands, creator economy strategist Jamie Goodfriend says it can hurt influencers.
Typically, the way it works is a brand will contract with a creator through an agency. However, the payment terms are typically around 120 days. So if a big brand is not paying an agency for 120 days, that agency then can't afford to float the money and then pay the creators. So the creators are waiting 120 days to get their money. That is an unbelievable challenge.
When we think about influencer marketing and social marketing at scale, unlike traditional means of advertising where you could plan in advance and plan a year out, social media moves at the speed of light. So when you think about activating creators who are human beings, just like you and I, and activating content around key trends, brands need to change the way they're approaching it to be able to be nimble and fast.
And while there are issues that still need to be ironed out, one thing is for sure, influencers have changed advertising, and they aren't going anywhere.
The creator economy can be sort of every man for themselves, but what we really should be doing is sort of building cushions around creators of people who have the press expertise, the industry knowledge, and actually investing in longevity.
For such a long time, social media has truly been the Wild West, and it lacks consistency in a lot of ways. So the best thing a brand can do is really understand the space, start meeting with creators. I do believe that at some point, creators are going to be valued as the highest media that you can buy in the world. I think we're on our way there.